Imagine this. A former president steps out of his luxury car, pauses mid-stride, and kneels before a homeless veteran holding a weathered cardboard sign. What he does next? It's not just surprising, it's life-changing. The wind swept through the city streets that afternoon, carrying with it a biting chill. Among the bustling noise of horns blaring and hurried footsteps, a homeless veteran sat on the sidewalk, his tattered jacket doing little to keep the cold at bay. His sign read, *Veteran, Hungary. Anything helps. People passed by, glancing briefly before averting their eyes, their own concerns taking precedence. Then came the moment no one expected. A black SUV pulled up at the curb, its tinted windows shielding its occupants from prying eyes. The door opened, and out stepped Donald Trump, accompanied by a few aides. It wasn't unusual to see him in public, but what happened next was anything but ordinary. Trump paused, his gaze locking on the man sitting on the sidewalk. It wasn't a passing glance. It was the kind of look that makes you wonder what's going through someone's mind. Without a word, he waved off his aides, who tried to steer him towards the building ahead. "You all right, buddy?" Trump asked, kneeling slightly to make eye contact with the man. The veteran looked up, his eyes wide with a mix of surprise and skepticism. I'm fine," he stammered, his voice hoarse from hours in the cold. "What's your name?" Trump asked, his tone softer than anyone nearby would have expected. "Chris," the man replied hesitantly. "Christopher Myers. I served in Iraq." Trump nodded, his expression unreadable. "Iraq? Huh? Tough place. What happened after?" Chris hesitated. "Came back, things didn't work out. Lost my job, my house. Been out here a while now." For a moment, Trump didn't say anything. His aides, visibly uneasy, whispered among themselves, but he ignored them. Finally, he stood up and said, "Wait here." Chris blinked, unsure what to make of it. He'd heard empty promises before, people offering help, then disappearing. But Trump walked back to his car, spoke briefly with someone inside, and returned holding an envelope. "Take this," Trump said, handing it to Chris. Chris opened it cautiously. Inside was a check, not for $100 or $1,000, but a staggering $50,000. His hands trembled as he held it, his mind racing to make sense of what was happening. "This isn't a handout," Trump said firmly. "This is a start. Get yourself a place, get back on your feet, and when you do, help the next guy." News of the encounter spread like wildfire. A bystander had recorded the moment on their phone, uploading it to social media with the caption, "Trump just gave a homeless veteran $50,000. Unbelievable." Within hours, the video went viral, sparking a tidal wave of reactions. Some praised the gesture, calling it a rare moment of humanity. Others questioned his motives, accusing him of staging the act for publicity. But for Chris, the opinions didn't matter. His life had changed in an instant, and he was determined to make the most of it. With the money, Chris rented a small apartment and bought a used truck to get around. He began applying for jobs, but the media frenzy following the video made it difficult to stay out of the spotlight. Journalists tracked him down, asking for interviews, while strangers offered additional donations to help him rebuild his life. In one emotional interview, Chris shared his thoughts. "I don't know why he stopped or why he chose to help me. All I know is, he gave me a second chance, and I'm going to make it count." Meanwhile, the public couldn't stop talking about Trump's gesture. Late-night talk shows debated the authenticity of the moment, while others wondered if this marked a shift in his approach to issues like homelessness and veteran care. The story took another twist when Trump made a statement during an interview. "I saw Chris, and I thought, this guy gave everything for his country, and now he's sitting in the cold? That's not right. So I did what I could. We need to do more for our veterans. It's about time we start giving back to the people who've given so much for us." The statement sparked a larger conversation across the nation. Charitable organizations saw a spike in donations, particularly those focused on helping veterans. Some even credited the incident with inspiring new policies aimed at tackling homelessness among former service members. But amidst the praise and criticism, one question lingered. Why Chris? Out of all the people Trump could have helped, why did he choose this particular man? Chris himself admitted he didn't know. Maybe it was fate. he said with a small smile. Or maybe I just got lucky. As days turned into weeks, Chris's life began to stabilize. He found a job at a local hardware store, reconnecting with a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. And true to Trump's words, he started paying it forward, using a portion of his money to help other veterans in need. Chris stood in front of a group of veterans at a small community center, holding a stack of papers in one hand and a worn smile on his face. The room was quiet, filled with men and women who shared similar struggles. Some homeless, some fighting to stay afloat, all listening intently. I know what it feels like to lose hope, Chris began. I know what it's like to feel invisible. But someone saw me, on a cold sidewalk, holding a sign, and that moment changed my life. The room erupted into applause, not for the man who had given him a chance, but for Chris himself, for his courage, resilience, and determination to give back. Chris had started a non-profit organization called Second Chance Vets, dedicated to helping veterans transition back into civilian life. Through job placement programs, temporary housing, and financial counseling, the organization quickly became a beacon of hope for those who had once been forgotten. The story of Trump's gesture and Chris's transformation became more than just a viral moment. It became a movement. Donations poured in, and celebrities, politicians, and everyday citizens joined the cause, proving that a single act of kindness could ripple out to change countless lives. In an interview months later, Trump was asked about the moment that sparked it all. Sometimes, you just have to follow your gut, he said. I saw a man who deserved better, and I acted. It's not about me. It's about what Chris has done since. He's the real hero here. As for Chris, his journey wasn't without challenges. There were days when doubt crept in, when the weight of his newfound responsibilities felt overwhelming. But every time he saw the face of a fellow veteran leaving his organization with new hope, he was reminded of the power of compassion. Standing at the podium that day, he concluded his speech with words that left the room in a hush. One moment of kindness can change a life. It changed mine, and now it's my turn to pass it on. What would you do if you were in Chris's shoes, or Donald Trump's? Would you have stopped? Would you have helped? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a conversation about the power of kindness. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. And remember, sometimes the smallest action can create the biggest change.